There are animals humans raise by the billions: cows, chickens, pigs, sheep, goats. They fill farms, markets, kitchens, and restaurant menus across the world. Their meat is so ordinary that most people barely stop to think about why those particular animals became food. But now picture a different menu: lion steak, wolf ribs, eagle burgers, leopard stew. It feels wrong before it even sounds realistic. A wolf and a cow are both animals. Both have muscle, fat, organs, and protein. In the simplest possible sense, both are edible. So why did humans build entire food systems around animals that eat plants, while animals that hunt other animals almost never became everyday food? The answer is not that people have never eaten predators. They have. In different regions and at different moments in history, people have eaten bears, sharks, crocodilians, some carnivorous fish, and other hunters. But predator meat rarely became the foundation of a food system. And that is not an accident. It comes down to a stack of reasons: energy, risk, practicality, culture, and one brutal fact about nature. Every meal at the top of a food chain has already been paid for many times over below it. Start with a field of grass. A deer can eat that grass and turn a small part of its energy into deer. Then a wolf can eat the deer and turn a still smaller part of that energy into wolf. At every step, energy is lost. Animals use energy to move, stay warm, grow, reproduce, escape danger, find food, and simply stay alive. Only a fraction becomes new body tissue that another animal can eat. That is why food chains usually look like pyramids. There are many plants at the bottom, fewer plant eaters above them, fewer predators above those, and only a small number of top predators at the very peak. The famous 10% rule is a simplified way to explain this idea. It is not a law that works exactly the same way in every ecosystem. Nature is messier than that. But the big pattern is real. Far less energy is available as you climb higher. That makes predators expensive. To raise a cow, you need land, water, and food for the cow. But to raise a lion for meat, you would first need to raise enough prey animals to feed the lion. You would be farming animals to feed another animal that grows slowly, eats heavily, and could injure the people trying to manage it. It is hard to imagine a less efficient livestock plan. A cow can turn plants that humans may not eat directly into food. A sheep can graze. A goat can browse. Chickens can eat a varied diet and reproduce quickly. Pigs grow fast and can eat many kinds of food. Predators are built for a completely different job. They are not designed to transform grass into meat. They are designed to find, chase, ambush, kill, or scavenge other animals. And that means a civilization choosing predator meat as a staple would be choosing the most expensive step in the entire food chain. If food is limited, feeding prey to a predator and then eating the predator makes little sense. It is usually more efficient to eat the prey animal yourself. That simple logic explains a huge part of the mystery, but it does not explain all of it, because even if someone had enough land, money, and food to raise predators, another problem would still be waiting inside the meat itself. The higher an animal sits in a food chain, the more chances it has to collect certain pollutants from everything it eats. This process is called biomagnification. Imagine a tiny fish absorbing a small amount of mercury from its environment. Then a larger fish eats many tiny fish. Then a shark eats many larger fish. The shark does not just receive one fish's worth of mercury. Over a long life, it can collect exposure from countless meals. That is why food guidance often warns pregnant people, nursing mothers, young children, and people who may become pregnant to avoid certain large predatory fish with high mercury levels. The danger is not that sharks are somehow evil food. It is that long-lived predators can sit at the end of a chain where contaminants become more concentrated. And this does not only happen with mercury. One of the clearest examples involved DDT, an insecticide once widely used in the United States. DDT and its breakdown products move through ecosystems, eventually reaching birds of prey. Bald eagles, ospreys, and other raptors were hit especially hard. The problem was not simply that adult birds dropped dead after exposure. The damage appeared in reproduction. DDE, a breakdown product of DDT, contributed to eggshell thinning. Eggs became more likely to break, and nests produced fewer young. Bald eagle populations suffered badly before the United States banned most uses of DDT in 1972. The story is a warning hidden inside the food chain. What enters the environment does not always stay where it starts. It can travel upward through prey, then predator, then the predator that eats that predator. Humans often sit near the top of that story, too. Then there is disease. Any raw or undercooked meat can carry foodborne risks. That is true whether the animal is a cow, chicken, pig, fish, or wild game. But certain wild carnivores and omnivores can carry parasites that become especially dangerous when the meat is not handled or cooked properly. One important example is trichinellosis, an illness caused by a parasite called trichinella. In the United States today, the illness is rare, but public health agencies warn that raw or undercooked meat from animals such as bear, wild boar, wolf, seal, and walrus can carry risk. This does not mean every predator is infected. It does not mean every herbivore is safe. And it does not mean people should panic about properly handled food. It means wild meat comes with specific risks, and predators can become part of complicated parasite cycles because they eat other animals. A predator is not only eating meat, it is eating the life history of its prey. Every animal it catches may have eaten plants, insects, smaller animals, parasites, or contaminated food. The predator becomes part of that web. Sometimes it becomes a dead end for disease. Sometimes it becomes another link in the chain. That makes eating predators less simple than it looks. Then there is an even stranger hazard: too much of a nutrient. Vitamin A is essential for human health. Your body needs it, but in very high amounts, vitamin A can be toxic. The livers of some animals, especially certain Arctic carnivores, can contain extraordinarily high concentrations of vitamin A. Historical accounts and scientific studies have linked the consumption of polar bear, seal, and dog liver to severe vitamin A poisoning. This is one of nature's strange reminders that natural does not always mean harmless. A food can contain something your body needs and still become dangerous at the wrong dose. But even ecology, disease, and chemistry still do not fully explain why most people recoil from the idea of lion meat. For that, we have to talk about culture. Humans do not decide what is food using biology alone. A cow can be a sacred animal in one place, a source of meat in another, a working animal in another, and a symbol of wealth somewhere else. Pigs are common food in many cultures and completely forbidden in others. Horses are dinner in some traditions and companions in others. Food is never just nutrition. Food is memory, religion, identity, family, status, fear, history. Predators often become symbols long before they become meals. The lion becomes a sign of royalty and power. The eagle becomes a symbol of nations and gods. The wolf becomes a rival, a guide, a monster, a teacher, or an ancestor, depending on the culture telling the story. Some predators are feared because they can kill people. Some are respected because they are hard to hunt. Some become protected because their numbers are low. Some are avoided because religious traditions classify them as unsuitable food. And once a culture stops seeing an animal as livestock, it becomes difficult to imagine putting it on a plate. A cow is often viewed as an animal that belongs near people. It can live in herds. It can be bred, managed, and transported. It is dangerous in the wrong situation, but it is not built to stalk you through the dark. A lion is different. A lion is expensive to feed, difficult to contain, slow to raise, dangerous to handle, and culturally loaded with meaning. Even if lion meat tasted amazing, it would still be a terrible candidate for ordinary farming. And that reveals the biggest twist in this whole question. Humans did not create the rule that plant eaters are usually better food animals than predators. The structure of ecosystems created that rule first. Humans noticed it, then we built farms around it. We chose animals that could live close to us, reproduce reliably, eat manageable food, and provide more calories than they consumed from human-controlled resources. Later, culture added more layers. Laws, traditions, taboos, stories, and symbols turned practical choices into deeply held beliefs. That is why the answer is not, people never eat predators. Some people do. The better answer is that predator meat usually loses the competition. It loses to herbivore meat on cost. It loses to many omnivores on speed and flexibility. It can carry different health concerns. It may collect more pollutants in some environments. It is harder and more dangerous to produce. And in many societies, predators became too respected, too feared, too rare, too protected, or too symbolic to become dinner. So the wolf was not kept off most menus because it was made from different material than the cow. It was kept off because the entire food chain made it a bad bargain. The grass feeds the deer. The deer can feed the wolf. But if humans want food, it is usually wiser to stop there. The higher you climb, the less energy remains.